Jack Mason loved the night sky. Every clear night, the 12-year-old boy would take his telescope to the hill behind his family's farmhouse in rural Montana. Tonight was special. A meteor shower was coming, and Jack didn't want to miss it. "Don't stay out too late," his mother Lisa called as he ran out the door with his backpack full of snacks and star charts. "I won't, Mom," Jack shouted back, his boots already carrying him across the field. The night air was cool against his face. Jack reached his favorite spot and set up his telescope. The stars were already appearing, tiny dots of light in the darkening sky. Far from city lights, the stars here were bright and numerous. Jack checked his watch. The meteor shower would start in about an hour. He munched on a cookie and studied his star chart. His science teacher, Ms. Miller, had given the class an assignment to track the meteor shower. Jack planned to take notes all night if needed. Something bright caught his eye. At first, he thought it was an early meteor, but it moved too slowly across the sky. Jack adjusted his telescope to get a better look. The object was metallic and reflected the moonlight. It was getting bigger. "That's not a meteor," Jack whispered to himself. His heart beat faster. Could it be a satellite? Or a plane? But it wasn't like any plane Jack had ever seen. It was round and flat like a giant silver frisbee. And it was heading straight for his farm. Jack grabbed his backpack and ran down the hill toward home. He needed to tell his parents. But halfway down, he stopped. The strange object now hovered silently over the cornfield. It was much bigger than he had thought, at least the size of a football field. Bright blue lights suddenly shone down from the bottom of the craft. Jack dove behind a large rock. He was scared but also curious. He peeked around the rock and watched as a smaller craft descended from the large ship. "Aliens," Jack whispered in disbelief. "Real aliens." The small craft landed in the cornfield. A door opened, and several tall figures stepped out. They were humanoid, but much taller than any human Jack had ever seen. Their skin looked bluish in the moonlight, and they wore tight-fitting uniforms with strange symbols. One of the aliens held up a small device that beeped and flashed. It pointed in Jack's direction. "The energy source is nearby," the alien said, in a strange clicking language that Jack somehow understood. "The child must be here." Jack's blood ran cold. They were looking for him. Why? He tried to make himself smaller behind the rock. "Commander Zixtar, the readings are strongest over there," another alien said, pointing toward Jack's hiding place. Jack knew he had to run. He counted to 3 in his head, then sprinted away from the rock toward the forest. He heard shouts behind him and the sound of something powering up. A beam of blue light hit the ground near his feet. Jack zigzagged as he ran, trying to avoid being hit. The forest was only 50 yards away. If he could reach the trees, maybe he could hide. Suddenly, his whole body tingled. He couldn't move. Jack tried to scream, but no sound came out. He was lifted off the ground, floating helplessly in the air. The aliens walked calmly toward him. "This is the source?" the one called Zixtar asked, studying Jack closely. "It doesn't look special." "The readings are clear, Commander," said another alien, this one wearing a white coat. "This human child is giving off energy patterns we've never seen before." "Very well, Dr. Valara. Prepare it for transport." Jack tried to speak, to beg them to let him go, but he still couldn't move. His eyes darted frantically around. In the distance, he saw lights come on in his farmhouse. His parents must have seen the ship. "Commander, there are more humans approaching," one of the aliens warned. Zixtar nodded. "Quickly then, get the specimen aboard." Jack floated helplessly toward their craft. In the distance, he could see his parents running across the field, his father holding his shotgun. "Jack!" his mother screamed. "Let him go!" One of the aliens pointed a small device at his parents. A flash of light erupted from it, and both his mother and father collapsed to the ground. "Mom! Dad!" Jack managed to cry out as the stasis field weakened for a moment. Tears streamed down his face. "The specimen is becoming agitated," Dr. Valara noted. "Increasing stasis strength." The tingling sensation grew stronger and Jack's consciousness began to fade. The last thing he saw was the open door of the alien craft. When Jack woke up, he was lying on a cold metal table. His hands and feet were secured with bands of light. The room was sterile and white with strange machines beeping all around him. Dr. Valara stood nearby watching him with large purple eyes. "The specimen is awake," she announced. Commander Zixtar stepped into view. "Good. Begin the preliminary tests. The Empire wants to know what makes this human special." "Where am I?" Jack asked, surprised he could speak again. "Why did you take me?" The aliens looked at each other in surprise. "It speaks our language," Zixtar said. "How is that possible?" "I don't know," Jack said truthfully. "I can understand you, and you can understand me. Please, I want to go home, Doctor." Valara adjusted something on one of the machines. "Fascinating. There's no translator technology involved. The humans' brainwaves are somehow adapting to our communication patterns." "All the more reason to study it thoroughly," Zixtar said. "The Emperor will be pleased." "Please," Jack begged. "My parents will be worried. They might be hurt." "Your concerns are irrelevant," Zixtar said coldly. "You belong to the Zenovian Empire now." Dr. Valara approached with a needle-like instrument. "This will only hurt for a moment." Jack tried to pull away, but the bands of light held him firmly. As the needle touched his skin, a strange feeling welled up inside him. It was like a pressure building in his head, growing stronger by the second. "Wait," Dr. Valara said suddenly, looking at one of the monitors. "These readings can't be right. The energy levels are spiking." The pressure in Jack's head exploded outward. The needle in Dr. Valara's hand shattered. Alarms began to sound throughout the room. "What's happening?" Zixtar demanded. "I don't know," Dr. Valara shouted as the machines around them began to spark and smoke. The bands of light holding Jack flickered and died. He sat up, as surprised as the aliens were. "Restrain it," Zixtar ordered. Two guards rushed forward, but before they reached Jack, they were thrown backward by an invisible force. Jack stared at his hands in shock. Had he done that? "Sedate the specimen immediately," Zixtar commanded. Dr. Valara rushed forward with another device, but Jack's newfound power knocked it from her hands. The Zenovians backed away from him, fear evident in their alien eyes. "What is this human?" Dr. Valara whispered. As Jack stood, on shaking legs, the ship suddenly lurched. An announcement came over the speakers in the alien language. "We've entered hyperspace," Zixtar said. "We're taking you to the Empire's main research facility. Whatever you are, boy, there's no going back to Earth now." Jack looked out a nearby viewport. The stars were streaking by faster than light. Earth, his home, his parents, everything he knew was being left behind. "You'll regret taking me," Jack said, surprised by the strength in his voice. "I don't know what's happening to me, but I'm going to find out. And then I'm going home." For the first time, a flicker of uncertainty crossed Commander Zixtar's face. 2 weeks passed aboard the Zenovian ship. Jack spent most of his time in a small cell with a bed, a strange toilet, and a wall that sometimes showed images of space outside. He was fed 3 times a day with food that looked like colorful jelly, but tasted like chicken noodle soup. Every day, Dr. Valara would come to take him to the lab for tests. The aliens were careful around him now. After the incident on his first day, they used a special gas to keep his strange powers weak. "Today we arrive at Research Station Epsilon 9, Dr. Valara told Jack as she led him down a long corridor. "Important. Scientists are waiting to meet you." Jack said nothing. He had learned that staying quiet often got him more information. The Zenovians talked freely around him, thinking he was just a simple human child. They entered a large room with windows that looked out into space. Jack gasped. A huge planet that looked like Jupiter but with green clouds filled the view. Around it orbited a metal ring the size of a small moon. "That's the research station," Dr. Valara said, noticing his amazement. "Home to 5,000 of our best minds, and my new prison," Jack said quietly. Dr. Valara's purple eyes blinked rapidly, which Jack had learned was a sign of discomfort. "You are not a prisoner. You are a research subject of great importance to the Empire. What's the difference? Jack asked. Before Dr. Valara could answer, Commander Zixtar entered with another alien. This one wore a white and gold uniform with many badges. Grand Admiral Kelzar, Dr. Valara said with a deep bow. This is the human specimen. The Grand Admiral studied Jack with cold eyes. This is what's causing all the excitement. It looks unremarkable. Its abilities are quite remarkable, Admiral, Zixtar said, and its energy readings match the ancient texts. Jack's ears perked up at this. Ancient texts? What did that mean? We'll see, Kelzar said. Begin the transfer procedures. I want it in the secure labs within the hour. As they prepared to dock with the station, Jack was taken back to his cell. A few minutes later, he heard soft footsteps approaching. A female alien he had never seen before appeared at his door. She was shorter than the others with bluish-green skin instead of pure blue. Hello, Jack, she said softly. My name is Dr. Elora Thin. I've been studying the data from your tests. Jack was surprised. This was the first time any of them had used his name. How do you know my name? I make it my business to know who my patients are, not just what they are, she said. And I believe the Empire has made a grave mistake in taking you from your home. Jack moved closer to the door. Will you help me get back? Dr. Thin looked nervous. It's not that simple. But I want you to know not all of us agree with what's happening to you. She handed him a small device through the slot in the door. Hide this. If you press the center button, it will disrupt the gas they use to suppress your abilities. But use it wisely. You only get one chance. Before Jack could ask more questions, Dr. Thin hurried away. He quickly hid the device under his mattress. An hour later, Jack was transferred to the station. 4 guards escorted him through gleaming corridors filled with aliens of different types. Some looked similar to the Zenovians, while others were completely different, some with 4 arms, others with skin that changed colors as they moved. They all stared at Jack as he passed. Finally, they reached a large laboratory where Dr. Valara waited with several other scientists. Begin the comprehensive analysis, she ordered. For hours, they ran tests on Jack. They took samples of his blood, scanned his brain, and made him try to move objects with his mind. The gas they pumped into the room kept his powers weak, but he could still make small objects shake. Incredible, one scientist said. The human's psionic potential is off our charts. Look at this genetic marker. Another scientist pointed to a display showing colorful strands of DNA. I've only seen this in historical records. Dr. Valara looked troubled. If this is accurate, we need to inform Grand Admiral Kelzar immediately. While they were distracted, Jack noticed a human man in the back of the lab. He wore a uniform similar to the aliens, but was definitely human. Their eyes met briefly, and the man gave a tiny nod before turning away. Jack wasn't alone. Later that day, Jack was moved to a new room. This one was larger and looked more like a bedroom than a cell, but the door still locked from the outside. As he lay on his bed, he heard a soft tapping from the wall. He put his ear against it. Jack, can you hear me? A man's voice whispered. It was in English. Yes. Who are you? Jack whispered back. Keith Parker, NASA astronaut. I've been undercover here for 6 months. Dr. Thin told me about you. Jack's heart leaped with hope. Can you help me get home? Working on it, Keith said. But first we need to understand what they want with you. The Zenovians don't just grab humans for no reason. They keep talking about energy readings and ancient texts, Jack said. That's the key, Keith replied. Listen, they're planning to transfer you to a military facility soon. Grand Admiral Kelzar came here specifically for you. Why? Jack asked. Because you're special, kid. Those abilities you've shown, they're just the beginning. According to what I've heard, you might be something called a Primarch rebirth. What's a Primarch? No one knows for sure. They're like gods in Zenovian mythology, beings who supposedly created life across the galaxy millions of years ago. Jack couldn't believe what he was hearing. That's crazy. I'm just a kid from Montana. Maybe. But those tests don't lie. Your DNA has markers that haven't been seen in 50,000 years. Their conversation was interrupted by footsteps in the hallway. Jack quickly moved away from the wall. The door opened and Grand Admiral Kelzar entered with 2 guards. "I wanted to see the specimen myself," he said, looking at Jack with new interest. "The genetic tests are confirmed?" "Yes, Admiral." "One," guard said. "The human carries the Primarch marker." Kelzar approached Jack slowly. "Do you know what you are, boy?" "I'm Jack Mason," Jack said firmly. "And I want to go home." Kelzar laughed. "Your home is wherever the Empire decides it is. And soon that will be Military Research Facility Omega-7, where we'll learn how to use your abilities for the glory of the Empire." "I won't help you," Jack said. "You won't have a choice," Kelzar replied coldly. "Prepare him for transport tomorrow, and double the suppression gas. I don't want any accidents." After they left, Jack pulled out the device Dr. Thin had given him. Tomorrow would be his chance to escape. But as he thought about it, he wondered if he should escape at all. If he really had these powers, maybe he should learn more about them first. That night, as he tried to sleep, Jack felt something strange. A presence in his mind, gentle but unmistakable. "Don't be afraid," a female voice said in his head. "My name is Lily Rodriguez. I'm with the human resistance. We're going to help you, but first you need to learn who you really are." For the first time since his abduction, Jack smiled. Whatever happened next, he wasn't alone anymore. The military transport ship was cold and uncomfortable. Jack sat in a small holding cell as the ship traveled through space. 3 months had passed since his abduction from Earth. He looked different now, thinner, with longer hair and eyes. That seemed older than his 12 years. Jack closed his eyes and focused. In his mind, he could feel the presence of every crew member on the ship. 23 Zenovians and 1 human, Lily Rodriguez, who was posing as a maintenance worker. They had never spoken face to face, but through their mental connection, they had planned his escape. "Today's the day," Lily's voice whispered in his mind. "Are you ready?" "Yes," Jack replied silently. "I've been practicing just like you taught me." Over the past weeks, Jack had been pretending that the suppression gas was working better than it actually was. Thanks to Dr. Thin's device, he could block most of its effects, but he had carefully hidden his growing powers from his captors. The ship shuddered as it dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They had arrived at Military Research Facility Omega-7, a massive space station built inside an asteroid. Through the small window in his cell, Jack could see it growing larger as they approached. The door to his cell slid open. A young Zenovian, guard named Corporal Vex, stood there. "Time to move, human," Vex said. But his voice lacked the coldness of the other guards. Jack had been working on Vex for weeks, using subtle telepathic suggestion to foster sympathy. It was working. "Where are they taking me?" Jack asked quietly as Vex led him through the corridor. Vex glanced around to make sure they were alone. "General Drax's personal laboratory. He's not known for his kindness. Be careful what you say around him." Jack nodded. "Thank you for the warning." They entered a docking bay where a small group of officers waited. Among them stood a tall, scarred Zenovian with cybernetic implants around his left eye. His uniform was black instead of the usual blue. "General Drax," Vex announced, standing. "At attention. The human specimen is ordered." Drax looked at Jack with his mechanical eye, which whirred as it focused. "So this is the famous human child," he said, his voice deep and raspy. "The one with the Primarch gene. You don't look special to me." Jack said nothing, keeping his eyes down as Lily had instructed. "Don't let them see your strength until the right moment." "Take it to Lab 1, Drax ordered. "I want to begin testing immediately." As they walked through the station, Jack carefully memorized the layout, sending mental images to Lily. Left turn, right turn, elevator down 3 levels, right turn again. The lab was large and filled with strange equipment. Unlike Dr. Valera's scientific setup, this one looked designed for pain. Jack suppressed a shudder. "Secure it to the testing platform," Drax ordered. Two guards strapped Jack to a metal table that tilted upright. Drax approached with a device that looked like a crown made of wires and metal. "Do you know what this is, human?" he asked. Jack shook his head. "This will allow me to access your mind directly, to see how your abilities work. It might be uncomfortable." As Drax reached to place the device on Jack's head, a maintenance worker entered the lab. It was Lily. Jack recognized her presence immediately. She was small for an adult, with short brown hair and quick eyes that took in everything. "Sir, I need to check the power coupling before you begin," she said, keeping her eyes down. "Last time this equipment was used, it overloaded." Drax scowled. "Be quick about it." Lily moved to a control panel near Jack. As she worked, her fingers quickly pressed a sequence of buttons that weren't related to power couplings at all. "Almost done, sir," she said. Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the station. "What is that?" Drax demanded. A voice came over the intercom. "Security alert in Sector 7. All personnel report to defensive positions." "Sector 7? That's on the other side of the station," one guard said. Drax pointed at Vex and another guard. "You two stay with the specimen, everyone else with me." After Drax and most of the guards left, Lily continued working on the panel. Jack noticed she was now wearing a small breather mask that covered her nose and mouth. "What are you doing?" Vex asked, approaching her. "Just finishing up," she said, her voice muffled. Then she pressed one final button. A hissing sound filled the room as gas poured from the vents. The other guard collapsed immediately. Vex staggered, looking confused. "Don't fight it," Lily said to him. "We're not going to hurt you." Vex fell to his knees, then to the floor. He wasn't unconscious, but he couldn't move. Lily rushed to Jack and freed him from the restraints. "Can you walk?" Jack nodded. "I've been saving my strength for this." She handed him a small breather mask. "Put this on. The gas won't hurt you, but we need everyone to think you're affected too." As they headed for the door, Jack stopped and looked at Vex. "We should take him with us." "What? He's one of them," Lily said. "No, he's different. He's been kind to me, and he knows this station better than we do." Lily hesitated, then nodded. "Fine. But if he tries anything..." Jack knelt beside Vex. "We're escaping. You can come with us, or we can leave you here, but if you come, you have to help us." Vex's eyes showed fear, but also something else, hope. "The Empire. What they're doing to you. It's wrong," he managed to say. "I'll help you." Together they lifted Vex and headed into the corridor. Alarms still blared, and most of the personnel were rushing toward Sector 7. "That diversion won't last long," Lily said as they moved in the opposite direction. "We need to reach Hangar Bay 3. There's a research vessel there, small but fast." They moved through the station, avoiding patrols when they could, and hiding when they couldn't. Jack used his telepathy to sense when guards were approaching. "Someone's coming," he whispered as they neared the hangar. They ducked into a small equipment room. Through the crack in the door, they watched as General Drax and several soldiers marched past. "Find them!" Drax was shouting. "The human must not escape." After they passed, Lily peered out. "Clear, let's go." The hangar bay was just ahead. As they approached the door, Jack felt a strange pull in his mind. "Wait," he said. "There's something important in that room." He pointed to a secure door labeled Data Center. "We don't have time," Lily argued. "We need what's in there," Jack insisted, though he didn't know why. "Trust me." Lily looked at him, then at Vex. "Can you get us in?" Vex nodded. "My access code should work." Inside the data center, Jack felt drawn to a specific terminal. He placed his hands on it and closed his eyes. Somehow, he knew what to do. Information flowed from the computer directly into his mind. Star charts, military plans, weapons designs, and something else. Something about Earth and the Primarchs. "Jack, we need to go now," Lily urged. As they left, alarms changed tone. A voice announced, "Data breach detected. Security lockdown in progress." They ran the final distance to the hangar bay. Inside was a sleek, small ship with Zenovian markings. "That's our ride," Lily said. "Vex, can you pilot it?" Vex nodded. Yes, but we need to hurry. They'll seal the bay doors soon. As they boarded the ship, the hangar doors began to close. Vex rushed to the controls and fired up the engines. "Hang on!" he shouted as the ship lifted off. They shot through the narrowing gap just as armed guards burst into the hangar. Laser fire streaked past them as they accelerated away from the station. "We made it," Lily said, laughing with relief. Jack looked out the viewport at the stars. "Not yet. This is just the beginning." Behind them, the military facility grew smaller. Ahead lay the unknown, and somewhere, the way back to Earth. The small research ship raced through space, its engines pushed to their limits. Inside, Jack sat cross-legged on the floor of the main cabin with his eyes closed. Around him, strange objects floated in the air: tools, food packets, even drops of water from a leaking pipe. "His powers are growing stronger every day," Lily whispered to Vex as they watched from the doorway. It had been 2 weeks since their escape from Omega-7. The Zenovian Empire had pursuit ships searching for them across 3 star systems. So far, Jack's growing abilities had helped them stay one step ahead. "I still don't understand what he is," Vex said. His blue skin had paled during their time on the run. "In school, we learned the Primarchs were just myths." "We need answers," Lily agreed. "And I know where to find them." Jack opened his eyes and the floating objects gently returned to their places. "The Taurian Confederacy," he said, having picked up their thoughts. "You think they'll help us?" Lily nodded. "They've been fighting the Zenovian Empire for centuries, and they have the largest collection of ancient texts in the galaxy. But they hate Zenovians," Vex said nervously. "They'll kill me on sight." "Not if we explain why you're with us," Jack said, standing up. "I won't let them hurt you, Vex. You're one of us now." Jack walked to the ship's main console and placed his hands on it. His eyes glowed slightly as he connected with the ship's computer. "I've plotted a course to Taurian space," he said. "We'll be there in 3 days if we're not detected." Lily stared at him in amazement. "How did you do that? That kind of navigation would take me hours." Jack shrugged. "I just know things now. Ever since I downloaded that data at Omega-7, it's like I have a map of the galaxy in my head." Later, that night while Vex and Lily slept, Jack sat alone in the pilot's seat watching the stars stream by. He thought about his parents back on Earth. Did they think he was dead? Were they still looking for him? A tear slid down his cheek. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through his head. Jack gasped and clutched his temples. Images flashed in his mind: a massive fleet of ships, planets burning, and Earth surrounded by Zenovian warships. "No!" he cried out. Lily rushed into the cockpit. "Jack, what's wrong?" "I saw it," Jack said, his voice shaking. "The Empire is planning to attack Earth. They think there might be more people like me there." "How do you know this?" Lily asked. "I don't know. It's like I can see things before they happen now." 2 days later, their ship approached the border of Taurian space. Massive green and gold ships patrolled the area. "Unidentified vessel," a stern voice came over the communication system. "You are entering Taurian territory. Identify yourself or be destroyed." Lily took a deep breath and activated the video link. "This is Lily Rodriguez of Earth. We seek asylum from the Zenovian Empire. We have a human child with us who the Empire has been experimenting on." There was a long pause. "We also have information about an Imperial plan to attack Earth," Jack added, moving into view of the camera. Another pause, then. "Follow the escort ships to Sanctuary Station. Any deviation from the assigned course will be considered hostile action." 2 sleek Taurian ships appeared alongside them, guiding them deeper into Taurian space. Sanctuary Station was built inside a giant asteroid, much like Omega-7, but where the Imperial facility had been cold and sterile, this place felt alive. Plants grew along the walls, water flowed in small channels, and people of many different species walked freely. As they docked, Lily turned to Vex. "Stay behind us. Let me do the talking." A group of tall, 4-armed beings with skin like burnished gold waited for them at the airlock. They carried ceremonial spears but wore robes rather than armor. "I am Minister Galthu," the leader said. Prime Minister Klazar wishes to meet the human child immediately. We have a Zenovian with us, Lily said. He helped us escape. He's under our protection. Minister Galthu's 4 eyes blinked in surprise when Vex appeared, but he simply nodded. All who oppose the Empire are welcome here, regardless of species. They were led through beautiful corridors to a grand chamber with a view of the stars. Prime Minister Klazar was taller than the others, with intricate patterns etched into his golden skin and eyes that seemed to shine with inner light. So, he said, looking down at Jack, you are the human child who has caused such a stir in the Empire. Jack met his gaze steadily. My name is Jack Mason. I was taken from my home on Earth. Klazar nodded. And now you seek our help. Why should we provide it? Because the Empire wants to use me as a weapon, Jack said. And if they find more humans like me, they'll use them too. They're already planning to invade Earth. Klazar studied him carefully. There is something different about you, young human. Something ancient. The Zenovians think I have something called the Primarch gene, Jack said. The chamber went silent. The Taurians exchanged glances, and some made a gesture that looked like a sign of respect or fear. Come with me, Klazar said quietly. There is something you must see. They followed him to a secure room deep inside the station. Inside was a single pedestal holding what looked like a crystal cube that glowed with soft blue light. This is one of the few Primarch artifacts still in existence, Klazar explained. For millennia it has remained dormant, but when reports of your capture reached us, it began to glow. Jack felt drawn to the cube. As he approached, the glow intensified. May I? He asked. Klazar nodded, though he looked nervous. Jack reached out and touched the cube. Instantly, a beam of light shot from it, surrounding him in a blue glow. Symbols and images appeared in the air around him, star maps, DNA strands, and strange writing. What's happening? Lily asked, alarmed. The artifact is responding to him, Klazar said in awe. It confirms what we suspected. This child is a Primarch, rebirth. The light faded and Jack staggered back, his eyes wide. I saw everything, he whispered. Earth wasn't just random, it was protected, hidden. The Primarchs chose it as an incubator world, a place where their essence could be reborn. What does that mean? Lily asked. It means, Klazar said, that humans are not just another species. They are the children of the Primarchs, and this boy is the first to awaken in 50,000 years. Jack looked at his hands, which still glowed faintly. There are others like me on Earth, not many, but they're there, and they'll start to awaken soon. Then we must protect Earth, Klazar decided. The Empire cannot be allowed to control the Primarch rebirths. Later, in their guest quarters, Lily found Jack looking out at the stars. Are you okay? She asked. I need to go home, Jack said. I need to warn them, to help the others like me. The Taurians have agreed to help us, Lily said. But getting past the Imperial blockade won't be easy. Jack turned to her, his eyes now containing flecks of gold. Just like the ancient Primarchs in the visions. We'll find a way, he said. Earth needs us, and I need to see my parents again. Across the galaxy, in the Imperial throne room, Emperor Zorkath VI received the news of Jack's alliance with the Taurians. So, he said coldly, the legends were true. The Primarchs are returning. What are your orders, Emperor? Grand Admiral Kelzar asked. Prepare the fleet, Zorkath commanded. We will take Earth before any more humans awaken and bring me the boy alive. The small Taurian scout ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. Jack stood on the bridge, looking at the view screen that showed his home planet, a beautiful blue marble in the distance. We made it, he whispered. It had been a year since his abduction. The past month had been a desperate race. With Taurian help, they had broken through the Imperial blockade, destroyed 3 pursuit ships, and followed a secret route to Earth. But they knew the main Imperial fleet was not far behind. Jack looked different now. He was taller, his body stronger, His eyes had golden flecks that sometimes glowed when he used his powers, and those powers had grown beyond anything the Zenovians had imagined. Imperial communications detected, Vex said from his position at the scanner console. They're already here, in orbit around Earth. Jack nodded. We expected that. Can you tap into Earth's communication systems? Working on it, Lily said, her fingers flying over the controls. There's a lot of chatter about unidentified objects in orbit. They know something's happening, but they don't understand what. Get me through to someone in authority, Jack said. I need to warn them. After several minutes, Lily looked up with a smile. I've got a connection to something called United, Earth Defense Command. Patching it through now. A stern-faced man appeared on the screen. This is Admiral Ben Howard of Earth Defense. Identify yourselves. Admiral Howard, my name is Jack Mason. I was abducted from my home in Montana 1 year ago by aliens called Zenovians. I've returned to warn Earth of an invasion. The Admiral's expression changed from suspicion to shock. Jack Mason, there's been a global search for you. Your parents, are they okay? Jack interrupted, his heart pounding. They're fine, son. They never gave up hope. The Admiral paused. We've detected multiple large objects entering our solar system. Is that the invasion you're warning about? Yes, Jack said grimly. The Zenovian Empire has come for Earth. They believe humans have special abilities they want to control. I escaped from them with help from my friends. I need to speak with Earth's leaders immediately. 48 hours later, Jack stood in a secure underground facility in Geneva, Switzerland. Around him were the most powerful people on Earth, presidents, prime ministers, generals, and scientists. Among them stood his parents, who had barely let him out of their sight since their tearful reunion. The Zenovian fleet will reach Earth in less than 6 hours, Jack explained, pointing to the display showing the approaching ships. They have weapons that can destroy entire cities, but I have a plan. We're listening, said Olivia Reed, the director of Earth's newly formed extrasolar intelligence agency. The Zenovians want me because I have what they call the Primarch gene, Jack said. But I'm not the only one. There are others like me on Earth, people with the same potential. If we can find them and awaken their abilities, we might stand a chance. How do we find these people? Admiral Howard asked. I can find them, Jack said. I can sense them now. 6 hours later, Jack stood in a large room with 23 children from around the world, all between the ages of 10 and 15. They had been rushed here by military transport as soon as Jack had identified them. Among them was Samantha Green, an 11-year-old girl from Jack's hometown. She had been his classmate, though they had never been close friends. I don't understand why I'm here, she said nervously, looking around at the other confused children. Jack smiled at her. You're here because you're special, Sam, just like me, and together, we're going to save the world. The Imperial fleet has entered Earth orbit, Admiral Howard announced over the intercom. They're deploying ships for atmospheric entry. Jack turned to Dr. Alan West, the scientist who had been helping him understand his abilities. It's time, Jack said. Dr. West nodded and activated a device in the center of the room. It looked like a smaller version of the Primarch artifact from the Tarian station. This will help focus your abilities, Dr. West explained to the children. Jack will guide you. Jack stood in the center of the room and closed his eyes. Everyone hold hands and form a circle around me. The children did as he asked, forming a ring around Jack and the device. Now close your eyes and listen to my voice, Jack said softly. Feel the energy inside you. It's always been there, sleeping. It's time to wake it up. Jack's mind reached out, touching each of the children's thoughts. He could feel their confusion, their fear, but also something else. A spark of power in each of them, waiting to be lit. The first ships are entering the atmosphere, Admiral Howard reported. They'll reach major cities in minutes. Concentrate, Jack urged the children. Feel the connection between us growing stronger. The Primarch device began to glow with blue light. The children gasped as they felt something awaken inside them. Sam was the first. Her eyes opened, now with golden flecks like Jack's. I can feel it, she whispered in awe. One by one, the other children's abilities awakened. The room filled with floating objects as their telekinetic powers manifested. Some could see visions of the near future. Others could speak telepathically. "Now," Jack said, his voice echoing with new power. "Together." He raised his hands, and the children followed. Their combined mental energy surged through Jack, amplified by the Primarch device. A beam of golden light shot upward, passing through the ceiling and into the sky. In orbit, Emperor Zorkath 66 watched from the bridge of his flagship as a golden dome of energy formed around the Earth. "What is that?" he demanded. "Unknown energy field, Emperor," a science officer reported nervously. "It's blocking our approach." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Fire all weapons, break through it." The Imperial fleet fired their most powerful weapons, but the energy shield absorbed every blast. Then, to their horror, the shield began to expand, outward, pushing the fleet back. On the flagship's communication screen, Jack's face appeared. Behind him stood the other awakened children, their eyes glowing with Primarch energy. "Emperor Zorkath," Jack said calmly. "This is Jack Mason of Earth. Your weapons cannot harm us." "Impossible," the Emperor whispered. "One child alone couldn't—" "I'm not alone anymore," Jack said. "Earth is under the protection of the Primarchs now. You have two choices. Leave in peace or be destroyed." To demonstrate their power, the children together caused one of the smaller Imperial ships to disintegrate into dust. The Emperor's face paled. "What do you want?" "Peace," Jack said simply. "Earth will join the galactic community, but as equals, not subjects. We will send representatives to negotiate the first interstellar accord." Hours later, with the Imperial fleet retreating to a safe distance, Jack stood with his parents looking up at the night sky. "Will they come back?" his mother asked worriedly. Jack smiled. "Yes, but not as enemies. They've seen what humans can do now. What we can become." His father put a hand on his shoulder. "What happens next, son?" Jack looked up at the stars, which now seemed much closer than they ever had before. "We take our place in the galaxy," he said, "and we make sure no one ever underestimates humans. Again." In the distance, Sam and the other children were practicing their new abilities under Dr. West's guidance. Earth's first generation of awakened Primarchs, with many more to come. The Zenovian Empire had seized a human child, thinking they had found a useful specimen. Instead, they had awakened an ancient power that would change the galaxy forever.